Back of the Bus podcast coming to you with another comic book review. Got our man's Theo Butler. I ain't saying, I'm just saying in the building.
I ain't saying, I'm just saying.
Hey. So today we are reviewing Black Panther number 7. I know the writer, y'all know the artist by now. The regular staple here on the pod. Yeah, whenever I start out like this, it's going to be a long one. Let me just start out by saying that I do believe this is going to be our last Black Panther book. After kind of talking with Theo and Josh, I feel like there are better options for representing us in these comic books right now. There are much better options. I don't even feel as though this shows very little effort. It shows very little effort, very little imagination. And it's persisted for the majority of the book now. I think we got to about issue 3, and that's when things started to get a little shaky for us after the 3rd issue. There were a lot of positive things to come out of this run, or at least that started out, at least we thought was positive. But it quickly dissolved into nonsensical hysteria and suspicion and poor dialogue and loose logic, and it's a bad book. Beyond this issue, I really wouldn't suggest it for anybody who's looking to pick up something new on their pull list. And if you're frustrated as I am, the only way to tell Marvel that is to stop paying for the book. So that's my 1-2.
To give the readers, those that's rocking with us, it's some things that me and Marcus were looking for. We were looking for a continuation of the intergalactic empire. At least something, give us something, because T'Challa is an emperor right now. They got us, our juices flowing with the new assassins that were coming after T'Challa and everything like that. And we were like, okay, who are these guys? They gave us hints that they might be working for this dude, or they could have been working for that guy. And we ain't seen these guys since, I don't know. So it's one of them things where, like Marcus, is like, man, what you got going on with the writing? There's another part in this book that me and Marcus have been, not just me and Marcus, but other Black Panther fans have been frustrated about, where the author sidesteps it all together. Me and Marcus will be getting into that, but we're gonna be taking a look at some different characters that's worth our time, some different writers that's worth our time. So yeah.
To bring up that mass hysteria we were talking about there, we're going to pop in on a conversation between Falasad and Akili. And Akili has set the stage in a way that would make you think that they are in some sort of imminent danger, in which I have found no evidence in the book so far. But he says, I want to be very clear about something. What's happening now, this isn't about Black Panther. This is about Wakanda. This is about our survival, our future. And we do not have a future unless we stop T'Challa. Like, that's a whole lot of stink on this situation. That's a whole lot of funk on this situation. It's not enough just to say that this is loose logic into assuming that they are under imminent threat from the mutants. But it's so lacking in evidence that I'm struggling to understand why right now at this moment, why she waits until later in the book to try to take back her power. How many times do you have to hear this 1 + 1 = 7 logic before you say, you know what? I don't think you all together. Your logic not adding up to me.
Who the hell is Akili? Like, I remember when we first started reviewing this, and I said, Marcus, I said, this a complete 180 character spin. This dude been T'Challa's right hand man, almost like Wakabi. Not the Wakabi in the movie. But he took this dude, John Ridley, the writer. He took Akili and put his own spin on the Akili. In this series, we're up to issue 7.
Mm-hmm.
For T'Challa to be painted like, because me and you live in the real world. We've seen real kings, politicians get painted like this. What has T'Challa done in 7 issues to deserve this type of vitriol? Nothing.
He enacted a spy program that every
That was
modernized
was
country with a
already there. But I'm talking
military
about
has around the world. That's
for
what he
him
did.
to be
We
seen
lied
as
about
a
it.
threat to Wakanda. Like this dude, we just had a whole intergalactic empire. One person, if Jai is all he killed, if that's what they saying, and me and you know better, it warrant this.
This is been the biggest thing with me with this entire premise. Is that okay? We got this intergalactic empire going on, right? But here on Wakanda Prime, we decided to do democracy. Odd in itself, right? Because then that would, to me, that signals that if your Prime world is doing something with their government, that they're trying to set an example, and that would ripple down throughout the entire empire. But okay. Anyways, the premise I'm having trouble really grasping is the idea that, hey, we moved away from a monarchy to a democracy, but we're going to hold you responsible for the actions that you took while it was still a monarchy. Like, as you were ruling and serving the country as its leader and rightful king, you took actions that were legal under that premise. But since now we're gonna do this whole democracy thing retroactively and go back in time and judge you for crimes from when you were a king, when there was no democracy, when there was no law, there were no checks and balances. Last time we were reviewing Black Panther, we brought up I brought up an interaction that he had at a press junket for a series he was doing called Gorilla, and I actually got some more information on that after we stopped recording. So turns out he was shooting a mini series about the Black Power Black Power movement in the UK, right? And it was starring Idris Elba. He was an activist that they were breaking out of prison. And so the female lead of the series, she's Indian, right? And so at one of his press junkets he had for the series, there was a Black Lives Matter activist in the crowd, and she asked him a pretty obvious question, I would think, is that, do you feel like you're assisting or at least contributing towards erasure of Black women within the Black Power movement in the UK by centering this Indian woman in this role? And right, and then conversely, there's also, I guess, the only other Black character that they had that was of any substance was like a villain. She was helping the white supremacists keep the Black people, subservient. She was assisting in
Problematic.
So they asked him very plainly, like, so why did you choose? What was it about her that made you cast her in that role as the only female co-lead? Instead in a series that's talking about a Black Power movement, the Black Civil Rights movement in the UK. Right? Like, do you feel like you're adequately telling the story of this movement if you are not centering Black women in that positive light, only in the negative? And so he immediately resisted it. And then pivots to his own relationship. So when you, to his interracial relationship, because he's obviously with a white woman, right? So I feel like what you just said about him giving that, yes, it is already a thing within the community, right? People see that and they like, oh, well, that's why he act like that, or they assume that he acts a certain way because of his relationship, and that's not fair.
It's not fair to his wife. It's not fair, but it's almost like.
But you're confirming it though. You're confirming it. You are assisting in that train of thought. For you to have
Watch this. And what we were talking about before we went live, I said I was going to do, what I was working on. The villain that I was looking at, because I wanted to do something different, the primary villain for Black Panther, for T'Challa, the action figure that I have is Lady Loki. And I said, no, we're not doing that one. And do you know why I said it? I said, Theo, if you do it, here's what's going to be said. Because you are reviewing, it's like taking the temperature of the room that you in. You already reviewing Black Panther. This dude then already implied that T'Challa is gay. If you were going to put Loki into a story that you're telling, it's got to be male Loki. It can't be female Loki, because you're gonna have to answer questions you don't want to answer. Take the temperature of the room. Neither one of them, for whatever reason, and they should. You Black. Neither one of y'all wives are Black. So they're oblivious to some stuff. They ignorant to some stuff. Y'all are supposed to be the on-duty experts when it comes to all things Black, and y'all acting like Black rookies, all the while claiming to be Black experts. No, you're not. No, you're not.
It hits me away. Because I can understand. You love who you love. I've never been a proponent of telling people who to date, who to marry.
Right.
I know what my feelings are. I know what my standards are, and that's all that matters to me. Right? I know me, and I know what I want, and I want you to be able to do whatever with whoever you want. Right?
Right.
The thing that really like just gets into my crawl is that for some reason it keeps being those individuals that have such a hard time viewing Black people in a positive light, or telling a story about a Black person in a positive light. And you don't have to go look any further to how he writes the relationship between T'Challa and Storm. Right? You don't have to look any further. It's not a stretch to me that says, oh, well, John Ridley was writing Mr. Fantastic and Mrs. Fantastic. I don't think we would have such relationship strife. And if there were lies told, I think he'd find a way to work through them the way that adults do, right? And come to a common resolution. If he was writing Jessica Jones and Luke Cage, I know damn well he'd find a way to keep them together, right? But for some reason, you got a problem keeping T'Challa and Storm together. Alsad and Akili are in a spat now because she's just now realizing that he's off his meds. And he pretty much tells her, like, you rescinded the power to me, and I don't think I'm gonna give it back. Because what are you gonna do? I'm the lead. I have the force, right? I have the army. So what exactly are you going to do? I'm letting it go. I don't think that would ever be something that a general would do outside of a Hollywood flick. But that's where we're at.
Sound like this is an American movie, don't it?
She backs down strategically. I'm seeing, right? She goes out into the Bernizana, the capital of Wakanda, out into the city. And she's telling her assistant here that basically they have to tread lightly because she believes that Akili would murder her. Under what guise? Like, why? How would he be able to successfully murder the prime minister and get away with it? Like, what would he say happened?
John Ridley wrote it.
Like, what exactly would he tell the people in his democracy?
That's my answer. John Ridley wrote it.
John Ridley wrote it.
Yeah, he wrote it. How would he do it? John Ridley would write it.
Yeah.
We're going to get into it because I'm going to I don't want to say, I got a lot to say when we get to this interaction between Aurora and T'Challa. So I'm just going to hold my peace.
Yeah, I'm kind of dreading that. But before we move on to that, there is a point in this conversation that I think needs pointed out because it continues to baffle me that this is the logic that we're running with. What about T'Challa? If we could find him, maybe he could help us. Yeah, duh. Olasad responds. T'Challa's lies allowed Akili to grab authority. No, you did. You granted him permission to take over. You, Prime Minister, you gave permission to do that.
That's why I have a problem with this. They are going overboard with this writing to drag this character.
But
like,
it's so much worse than that, Theo. He's writing all of these people talking. He doesn't get it. He don't understand. No, you didn't write it so that T'Challa made it happen. You literally wrote it so Folasad gave him power. What are you talking about? Nobody forced your hand into doing nothing.
Yeah, listen, this is hot garbage. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. If it wasn't what it was, we could light a fire to this. This is a dude whose writing is inconsistent from issue to issue.
It just doesn't make any fucking sense. When did you write T'Challa opening up the opportunity for Achille to take power? I heard him tell Achille to kick rocks while y'all was in session, right? I heard Achille sending out incendiary accusations, but with no proof of anything.
Nothing.
And then you jumped the gun and tried to arrest T'Challa. You did that. And not only did you do that, when T'Challa escaped, you gave all power over to Achille because he said so.
All power over to
you. That. And that's how you wrote it, John. You did not write this is T'Challa's fault. You wrote it's everybody else but T'Challa's fault.
Where is the spy and espionage that we were promised?
There's no espionage with any of this. It's all been very plain, very basic, very straightforward. What the hell happened to the assassins? Where are they? What the hell happened? Where have they been?
They had some nice uniforms on, didn't they? Did they look nice?
They found out that they were Wakandan, right? So, and then they disappeared. So, to me, that tells me with the basic nature in which this comic book has been written, that it's probably just Hattusaraze dressed in different suits at the behest of Achille to try to mask their identities and kill T'Challa so that he can take over power, right? Because it is the only linear thread that I can see in this plot. Now, maybe I just have a lack of imagination. Tell me if you see something else. Folks watching and reviewing with us, you let me know if you see anything different. But the only thing that makes sense at this point is that Achille set this whole thing up. Oh, surprise, surprise! And he's the one sending out Hattusaraze dressed up as mysterious assassins to go kill T'Challa's sleeper agents and T'Challa eventually.
I don't even know what to say because I don't even know when Achille came up with this damn plan. Like, I ain't got no backstory, ain't no references to Achille from the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. Like, I don't know.
Or answer as to why. What sparked this? And now they're about to go to war over who gets Wakanda. That is your fault. I don't trust T'Challa to help anyone but himself right now. Protector.
Even though this dude got a track record of helping the whole damn nation and the world.
Protector of Wakanda is what the Black Panther is. That is a title that T'Challa was able to gain not only through ritual combat, but through the lineage, his blood, his ancestors, the first carriers of the heart-shaped herb in Wakanda. How, after being named an intergalactic emperor, we get to a point where the only time T'Challa does something is for himself. The only person T'Challa does anything for is for himself, and Ja. Based on what, bro? Based on what? It's not even based on the actions that you've written in this book. That's how lackluster this title is. It's not even based on the information that you've given us. You can't recite you back to us.
It'd be one of them things where you sit back and me and you joke and laugh a lot and everything like that. And I know I be acting like an old head, but I be thinking, damn, did I miss something? And I got to go holler at Mr. Smith, who's 10 years older than me. This dude got every Black Panther book that was ever dropped, every reference to Black Panther. So I'm like, Mr. Smith, did I miss something? No, Theo, you didn't miss anything. I don't know why they paint him like this. Here's what I do know. And Marcus, I think it's safe. I think you and I are both safe to say this. He not writing like this if he's writing about Bruce Wayne, Peter Parker,
Which is so
Steve
crazy. I
Rogers.
didn't
He
read his.
gonna hold it better than that. Even the
Did you
Fantastic
read
Four
it?
early. He ain't writing them like this.
Next panel, we'll go to a conversation between Storm, T'Challa, Shuri, Malalola, and the Dora. Right? They came back at the end of issue 6, at the very end on the last page. And we get even more desecration of the character of T'Challa. We get even more, oh, you never helped us. You've always been selfish. You never fought for us. You always fought for yourself. Why would we fight for you? Why would we trust you? Theo, can you remind the audience who is responsible for forming the Dora Milaje?
The Dora Milaje were actually formed before T'Challa became king. T'Chaka had them in place, and the reason why they was in place was to keep the rival tribes at bay. Send one female, that means y'all all included and everything like that. We ain't got to worry about no in-house fighting. T'Challa came along and said, you are no longer wives in training. You're just bodyguards. Who didn't take that to heart? Nakia. No, you gonna be my husband. You. And when T'Challa was like, hey, I'm seeing Monica Lynn. That's who I'm with. That's who an R&B singer. I want to be with Monica Lynn. Nakia tried to have her killed. So when we talk about the Dora Milaje, T'Challa has trained up the Dora Milaje. When one of them got killed by Dr. Doom, he said, listen, and the Dora Milaje are already OP, by the way, but they can now fight robots and wizards or mages, or they could fight Wanda. That's how he's got the Dora Milaje right now.
What it sounds like is that T'Challa changed the Dora Milaje's trajectory from being breeders to warriors.
He did. And the sad part about it is, if you're not my age, or if you're not Mr. Smith's age, or you're not gonna go to your LCB, local comic book store, LCS. I'm gonna get it right one day.
LCS, there you go, LCS.
Your local LCS and pick up the trade paperbacks. You're not gonna notice. That means that somebody like Marcus, his age, who ain't doing what Marcus do, going to go get the knowledge, is gonna come in and misfeed people a whole bunch of misinformation. Or somebody my age, who, and I talked to Mr. Smith, maybe they don't like T'Challa because Jack Kirby and Stan Lee did create it. Maybe we got an issue with the fact that 2 white dudes created this character. So we finna murk this character. If however we want to, because let Reginald Hudlin tell it, that ain't my character. So I don't know where the vitriol, as I said today in the video, if you only know about T'Challa from the movies, you don't know him. So how do you not like him? You don't know him. You can't say he didn't do anything erroneous as king, because of me and you looking at the MCU, he ain't been king yet. He just took over the throne. You got an intergalactic war, you get snapped and you come back. You ain't done nothing as a king. If we looking at Marvel Comics, well, damn, aside from him having the mutant that they were the Phoenix Force was trying to possess, hiding her out, Namor flooding Wakanda, T'Challa been king in black, Skrull invasion, slaughtered hundreds in Atlantis. Shuri did it, slaughtered the hundreds in Atlantis. But T'Challa, ain't no comic book fan.
You would have to.
So
for this little bit on this page to make sense, this spat between the Dora Milaje and T'Challa to make sense, you would have to isolate their entire history with T'Challa down to their most recent interaction when they fled, when they left, when they were, disbanded and gone from the. And
why did they leave? Why did they leave? Because M'Baku's brother, Mabala, whatever, was killing women. Anika killed him. Okoye took the Midnight Angel armor and broke her out of jail. But T'Challa didn't lock her up. Queen Ramonda locked her up. And Queen Ramonda wasn't going to let her go. That wasn't on T'Challa.
What could even possibly be the conflict that would make them talk to him like this? What could possibly even be the issue that would make the Dora Milaje turn on the man that they are sworn to protect, or were sworn to protect? They don't. T'Challa's responsibility is to Wakanda. The Dora Milaje's responsibility in Wakanda was to the king. Was to the king.
So watch
They
this.
didn't have a duty to respect Wakanda at large, even if that meant defending Wakanda versus the king.
So watch
That's
this.
not
Watch
their
this.
role.
You ready? Let's ask this question. If they no longer are his personal bodyguards and they're no longer an army, what's the relevancy? This when we get people be too you could be so smart you be stupid. What's the relevancy of the Dora Milaje? Because the Ias-Ijs are the army.
Yeah.
That's the police, the Ias-Ijs. So if they, and mind you, every king has a personal guard. Like, let's not do this. The president has personal bodyguards. We're not doing this. So we set up here and say, instead of him having an all-man contingent of bodyguards, it's all females. That, I mean, damn, that's impressive. And they don't need guns. That's even more impressive. So what are we doing if they not the king's guards? Because in comics they no longer answer to him. They are no longer his bodyguards. They're in the Jabari lands. So you could literally tell a Black Panther story right now in Marvel Comics without involving the Dora Milaje. Every story you tell got to include the Ias-Ijs because they right there in Wakanda. That's the secret police. But going forward, they out in the Jabari lands. They're on the outskirts. They don't even answer to him. One of them is even bragging about it. So if you not answering to T'Challa, if you're not a part of the bodyguard, you're not Shuri's bodyguard. She don't even want you like that. What's your relevancy in Wakanda? Why are we telling you these stories? Because we weren't talking about the Jabari lands before you got there.
Yeah, for sure. So we got Folasad, and she is projecting a message to the entire capital right now from Parliament, and she is letting them know that Akili is about to start a civil war, and that the Wakandans should rise and fight, and fight the oppression from this tyrant. So, better than sneaking back in the most skilled fighter in all of Wakanda, the former king, to deal with Akili and reclaim the capital. It's a better idea to cause a mass hysteria throughout the entire city and tell them to fight and be an open rebellion to the government. A government that's being led by a maniac at the moment.
Whose soldiers have on vibranium mesh uniforms.
Just fight.
Advanced vibranium weapons.
You gotta fight. Fight.
Hey, this ain't going right against regular guns and bullets. How this finna go?
But actually, to stay objective, I will say this little part of the book I won't say enjoyed, but I think it was a good little add-on, right? It was the mute zone, the village of Zaire. Yes. Right? I like that. I like the concept of a settlement outside of the capital city. The whole juxtaposition of living close to the existing power structures as opposed to living off the land. Who's the true Wakandan? I do like that. That's fine, because that's a conflict that can be had without war or destruction or devastation.
This is something that we touched on in the current in the comic books that I'm reading, because they talked about how Zaravare insults, where he chastises, he taunts Queen Ramonda and Shuri for being too dependent on technology. Zaravare is like, he deals in alchemy and everything like this. So even this storyline where we're getting, there has been no resolution between traditional Wakanda and technological Wakanda. We doing this too many damn times. It's like, it can't be. Mind you, I like TOSIN. Like, don't get it twisted. I like TOSIN. But we can't keep revisiting this storyline. It's no different than with the mutants. We're gonna keep, but hey, I'm black in America, and never mind. I guess we can.
No, but that's how it goes. That's how it goes. And you actually you have you got a lot of what you just talked about in the dialogue here. Why should we help? Why should we? It's their self-centered nature that led them to all of this. Let them fall. Let them fall. And who's soaking all of this conversation in from the shadows, from the background? It's your boy TOSIN, right? Seems like they're positioning him to be the next, true leader. But I guess we'll see how that unfolds.
Can you be the Black Panther without having Panther powers?
If I were to guess what the meaning or the purpose of this book is to make the Black Panther title less synonymous with T'Challa, number one, but the idea of a male Black Panther figure. We can just put anybody there. We can just, because you know what? MCU Marvel may get away with putting M'Baku in a Black Panther suit. They had to go to a whole nother universe to find that in the comic books. You know what I mean? It's not, that's not so easily swingable in a comic book as opposed to a movie where nobody knows anything or is even paying attention.
You ready? Here's where I'm at with it. You're gonna wind up canceling Black Panther, the comic, because
at this point, I hope they do and start over. I hope this run gets canceled, because it's doing a disservice to the character, and it's putting a precedence out there that is going to be negative, and that's going to continue to perpetuate through other books because it's canon.
And that's the thing. That's the question that I have. Me and you, we read comic books. We know movies and everything like that. I know what's been said about casual fans, comic book fans, and everything. But you and I, we go to the comic book store. The casual fan does not go to the comic book store. We do.
Sure.
And you and I, the comic book fan, we like things to go a certain type of way. And it ain't just me, it ain't just you, it's all of us, regardless of who we are. I'm curious how they're going to do this, because you and I have observed them try this with many characters, including T'Challa before. You're going to have to bring him back in 12 issues, or you got to cancel this whole damn comic book. And he'll show up because nobody will be paying attention to Nighthawk over in Avengers. Ain't nobody gonna want that foolishness. Ain't nobody gonna be looking for Tosin to show up as the substitute Black Panther. You're gonna literally have to bring T'Challa back. Your comic book sales are finna go in the tank because you trying to match it up with the movie. But the people in the movie theater ain't finna come to the comic book store. They didn't save you with Shuri. They not finna save you with this. So
they never have. They never have. I don't know. But we got Folasad and her assistant there in Parliament, and the Hatu Zaraze are bearing down on them. Brave little guy steps in front of Folasad and said, "I will die for her." It's crazy because he's painted as more of a hero than T'Challa.
Can we get him bulked up though? Because his demeanor, like
he's a little scrawny.
John, you the way you did this dude, bro, you did this dude dirt. Like he's
a little scrawny.
He didn't have to have it like that.
But who swoops in just at the nick of time with their vibranium blast? I listen, man. I like the introduction of new Black characters. So that's why I am accepting of TOSIN. Am I overly blown away with anything we've gotten from the character, be that of power set, attitude, motivation? None of this is really doing it for me. His entire impetus of being here in this story is to show the corruption and the rot of the political system in Wakanda, which by extension falls into T'Challa's lap. So what we're talking about here is TOSIN being the anti-hero to T'Challa's villainy.
Why we couldn't
I'm not with that. I'm not supporting that. So I
Watch
like the
this.
fact that we have a new black character, but I don't like that it has to happen at the expense of the character who made it possible for TOSIN to exist at all.
Right, watch this. Duke Johnson, the signal.
Okay.
We are Robin. We ain't get rid of Bruce. We ain't get rid of Bruce. Hell, we didn't get rid of Dick. We ain't get rid of Jason, and we ain't get rid of what the youngest one up, Damon. We ain't get rid of none of them. We still found room for Duke. But with us, we can't get 1 + 1. We got to get 1 - 1. Addition by subtraction. You can't give us T'Challa and TOSIN. See, this way too damn telling, John. And see, now this is when I get pissed. I get mad. Because now I'm sitting here looking and thinking about it. You can introduce a new black character, but for you to introduce a new black character, you got to take one away. That is what we've been talking about from day damn one. And here you are as a black man, and you got it within you to do something, and you do something totally damn different. You're not dumb. You're not stupid. You on the message boards. You ain't on Twitter. That's why you ain't got no Twitter account. But you know what we out here saying.
Yeah.
You are literally being the living, breathing epitome example of what's wrong with black writers in comics.
And you know what's funny? Since he didn't necessarily write this first arc to end at the trade, right? So the first trade that we got is the issue 1 through 6. But at issue 6, we was still on a cliffhanger of what was going to happen at the end when the Dora Milaje walked in. So he didn't even write a full story arc within the first 6 issues. We're still trying to get through the first arc, and we're headed towards issue 8.
And he don't want to be contacted, does not want to be held accountable. You don't want people that are comic book fans to ask you comic book questions. Then don't write this comic book.
The reason why I'm saying that is it's allowed extra time for him to receive this criticism. So I know he's gotten it. Since you didn't write a full arc within the first 6 issues, and you're having to continue the same arc, there's zero shot that you have engaged reception knowing that you're writing the same arc, but the first trade is already gone. We'd already been through reprints, second prints of your first 6 issues. Now we got a full trade together, and you're still not out of the first arc. So I know damn well you looking for reactions, because you want to know how to gauge the rest of the issues for this arc, because it may be your last. They may be your last.
Right. Mind you, issue 6 was late.
Yeah. You're right.
Like I said, man, I want people to stop saying 2 things. But one thing specifically I want people to stop saying. I want people to stop saying you have to have an established writer writing these characters. No, you don't. You need to have somebody that cares. Because you and I have seen established writers write for T'Challa. But if you don't know how to write comic books, it's no different than you knowing how to write a romance novel. Just because you know how to write a science fiction novel and you know, receive a Pulitzer for that, it don't mean you know how to write this other genre. They are coming on here and Marvel is hiring them because they're black. They don't give 2 damns about the character, can't tell you anything about the character other than they black. Marvel, you need to start asking these people before they write for Black Panther if they know anything about jungle action. If not, they asses got to go. Don't bring them on board. Because all they doing right now is going from not John Ridley. Right now, people are going from Christopher Priest forward. They're not going backwards. It's either Christopher Priest or Reginald Hudlin and forward. They're not going backwards. So don't hire these cats no more. Don't hire them no more. I would prefer you hire the white dude to actually give a damn about comics, or somebody else that don't look like me that give a damn about comics, before you feel compelled to hire somebody that look like me that don't give 2 damns. Don't do that no more.
So in a conversation here with the door, he's still trying to convince him to fight with him. And to do so, he gives up the ultimate sacrifice and foregoes his reign to Wakanda forever. Because I will never try to be king again. Every decision I make is wrong. and I will not be king. And that seems to be the straw that breaks the camel's back and gains their support. Shuri is going to go into the city by herself to shut down the weapons and get out. Like the griot powers are amazing, right? But she's gonna go back into the capital by herself. Like she's gonna try and walk in the front door by herself and shut down the weaponry. There's no distraction, and I'm gonna sneak around. There's no, oh, I'm gonna change my appearance. I'm gonna dress in a costume. No, I'm coming full griot gear, crows and all, to the front door because I'm bad. Because I'm bad. And John Ridley is writing me bad. Stupid. All this intelligence he's been showing, and she forms the dumbest plan.
You can actually see it's a struggle between them trying to write Shuri how she is in the book and trying to keep her consistent with who she is in the movie. Because honestly, she don't need them arm blasters no more.
Where did she come from with him, Theo? Where did she even come from with him? Why? Now, I'll tell you why she needs him. Because apparently now they have a blaster that can take away her abilities. What kind of technology is that? Yeah. What right. What technology is that?
See, I wasn't even
Shuri. Hold on, it would have had to have been Shuri or T'Challa that created it, and they would never create a weapon like that to use against themselves. But you know, knowing John Ridley, he probably gonna reveal to us in issue 8 that T'Challa really built those guns.
Listen, I said
captured.
The question that you asked was the question that I asked. I'm like, how they know how to? Never mind. I don't even want to do it. Hey man, it's your world. Hey young world, be great. But the arm blasters
has supernatural powers. They're not based in science. You know what I'm saying? Like there ain't no cure for that. Her powers are in a different place. You have to sever her connection to another realm to stop Shuri's powers. Ain't no
she can literally grow
her powers today.
Like, and we ain't seen that. He just showed us her turning into crow. You ain't show her turning into that one big raven. You ain't even show her body concrete. Her being able to go to the side of the giant. You ain't showing us none of that. Man, get out of here with it. Man, listen. Y'all don't want to write these comments, bro. Listen, it's people that kill. Like, this be the problem. Somebody come in, be reading these comments and don't know. Me and you know the hero. We know Shuri's story. So me and you will sit up and say, man, I don't know. Man, Shuri can't turn into no giant. Yes, she can. She ain't doing John Ridley's run. That's John Ridley's run. What you, man? She can't, her body can't turn into stone. She can't. Bro, yes, she can. Because we got cats like this doing stuff like this. John Ridley is the comic book version of the dude who directed the movie. That's me being petty.
See, I feel like there are more decidedly anti-black themes in this book than have been in Black Panther the movie. Black Panther the movie, although it had its problems, was very positive in its impact. This will have no positive impact on anyone that reads it. Not white, black, brown, yellow, no matter. No one's going to gain a positive representation of black women or black men from this book. So, I think with that one, I will give just a little bit more credit to the director of the movie.
You heard me? I want to disagree with you, but as much as I don't like this book, I can't.
Yeah, it's a thin line, but it's there for sure. So, as Shuri is starting to get surrounded, getting flanked a little bit, here comes TOSIN again, everybody's hero. We don't actually see what the difference in TOSIN's powers are to that of the Black Panther. Other than the vibranium blast that we got in the first one when he saved Falasad, but it seems like he got some hands fighting along Shuri, and they clear out the Hatu Zoraze. Now, Shuri goes to him to make sure he's okay, make sure he's in one piece, because he just saved her, and bro's ultra aggressive to her right away. What I love, because this entire interaction that they have for the next 2 pages is very contentious. Like he's not respecting her in the least bit, and I get it. It's part of his character that he doesn't respect that type of authority or that like of power. Any type of governmental figures he feels are corrupt and greedy and what so have you, so he doesn't trust them. He goes along with her just because he's injured and he needs to get along. But what I find interesting is the juxtaposition, right, between Tosin and T'Challa. T'Challa is misogynist. T'Challa is a liar. T'Challa is selfish. T'Challa is self-serving. But you can write a selfish, misogynistic, self-serving character in Tosin. He's allowed to be all those things to Shuri while replacing the guy that you're trying to tear down. It's so funny, and sometimes I feel like it may even be projection, because the things that you are trying to put on a certain character, the characteristics that you're trying to give a certain character, sort of come out in the characters that you're not really trying to give it up to, i.e. Tosin or even Akili, right? Akili has really been the star of this run. He the one calling all the shots. He the one making all the moves. He's really been the star of this run. Now Akili gets to show strength. Akili gets to show dominance and some sort of pragmatism, at least with his plans. Now his logic don't check at all. But if he's the one behind all of this, then he's shown the level of pragmatism and follow through, right? Mm-hmm. Why can that guy, that character, have all of that, but the main character has none of it? None. Why is it that Tosin is allowed to be an asshole to Shuri without being an asshole that's to have a back turn towards him or to be left in the street like they trying to do with T'Challa?
That's a great question. Here's what's wrong with those questions, and I don't mean wrong as in those questions are wrong to be asked. Here's why you shouldn't even be able to ask them questions. You and I sit up here and people know that you and I both pro recast T'Challa. Okay, so they know we've been, tooting this horn since last year. The movie come out in November. Anybody that's been reading this run, it's a deliberate move. The way it's coming across, it's a deliberate move to get this dude off the throne in the comics by the time the movie drops. Like, you trying to get the comic. Why are you really going that hard? Like, here we go. He just went intergalactic empire. You could have sent this dude through a damn wormhole or something like that. No, you're really going above and beyond to tear this character. That don't even make no sense. And not tearing him down, making it like he's hot garbage, the weakest of the weak, the worst of the worst, just so you can get your movie together in November. You don't want people looking at him in the comics in November when you drop. That's way too damn much. You ain't never done that with nobody else before.
You saw the announcement for the miniseries, right? The Wakanda short series.
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it like, you're going way too damn hard to literally destroy a fictional black character in ways you've never done with any character, period. And you doing it out of respect.
On to the worst part of the book.
Yes.
Right?
Please.
Conversation between Storm and T'Challa. All right, so starts out with Storm asking him if T'Challa meant what he said about not taking up the throne, even if they beat Akili. Right? T'Challa says something to the effect of, well, forever's a long time, but if we beat Akili, I'm not going to take it back. I'm not going to reassume my throne. Right? She says back to him, T'Challa, for all you got wrong as a king, there's a whole lot you got right. Oh, there's some positivity. Now, why you couldn't speak up and say that in front of the Dora? Don't know. The problem is when you're a leader, you can never afford to get anything wrong. I sit here now thinking of the lives I've shattered. Jaws, Amalolola's, yours. Aurora, can you ever forgive me? Okay? Aurora responds, I will always care for you going forward as a friend rather than a partner. But if you're asking me to forgive, it's like you said, a leader's got to get it right more than they get it wrong. And as the voice of soul, I cannot give respect where none's given.
First, this dude been trying to be with her. She been trying to be with him since day one. That's that. But Ten of Swords, we're not finna act like that. Everybody told her to wait. She used the Wakandan, she used the Krakoan gate to walk in. She used the fact that they knew her. She used the fact that T'Challa was in love with her. When they said, if you wait, he'll give it to you. F waiting, I'm finna take it, I'm finna leave right now. T'Challa was protecting a mutant that the Avengers were trying to get at because the Phoenix Force was after him. He was doing Storm Aurora a solid. Sister got pissed at him, kicked his ass out of Wakanda, and the dude still came back to hold it down. She mad because he got Gentle watching as a double spy. Aurora Monroe, as smart as she is, this ain't on her, this on John Ridley. She's only one person. And we already know Krakoan got individuals on that island that ain't worth a damn. Victor Creed is one of them. He already thrown in the damn hole. Fabian Cortez is over there. All the mutants on Krakoa can't be trusted.
Nathaniel Essex is on the Quiet Council. That right alone is reason enough to have somebody. And then, but then.
Wait, hold on. I got you right here. What? With Gentle being a double spy, if something go down today or tomorrow on Krakoa, or on Mars, and Gentle is right there with Aurora and she's in danger, who you think he finna save? You think he finna save Magneto first, Jean Grey first, Scott Summers first, or Aurora first?
Aurora.
He gonna save her because he know that's probably, watch this, Aurora don't know it, but if he's a double agent, 9 times out of 10, T'Challa done told this dude to be her personal bodyguard and she don't know it. But what was the name of this story? This story was supposed to be about spy work. John Ridley, you ain't getting off. Nah, because you had T'Challa tell Aurora in issue 6 that he ain't care for nobody as much as he cared for Jai. Why is this discussion being had on panel? No, bro, go tell her what that lit read. No, John. No, John. You ain't getting off that easy. You shot.
Why do we even care? Why do we even care if Storm forgives him? He don't care about Storm's opinion. He only cared about Jai. Why do we even care? According to you, bozo, TOSIN goes back to the mute zone, right? And he is about to take a hot vibranium bath. Okay.
Hot vibranium bath.
So look, adamantium is an offshoot of vibranium, right? They had to light or adamantium at a astronomical level. I don't know the exact number, but they had it was a couple hundred degrees Fahrenheit to melt it. They got vibranium bubbling with nothing but a pit fire underneath it. Now mind you, that is nothing but a pit fire because these are the folks that hate technology. So they got some logs and some brush and created a fire that was big enough to keep, not only melt it, but keep it boiling hot. And if that ain't the eternal flames of Jesus, I don't know what is.
Hey, and he got in it.
Like, man, you not doing nothing right. These people not talking right. The narrative is all wrong. The plot is fucked. Like, none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. So in a laboratory full of technology, I'd have to light the vibranium to 1,000 degrees to get it to melt. But you can start a forest fire and get it boiling hot and keep it that way for TOSIN when he wants to come and take a bath.
And he ain't yelling. He in boiling water, his skin ain't cut. Never mind.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a mutant. No, because see, John, you would have said that already, wouldn't you? You just gave it. Never mind.
Policide seems apprehensive while talking to Shuri about including T'Challa in their plans to take back the capital until Shuri assures him, oh no, he don't want to be boss no more. He said he just gonna go quietly off into the wind. And Policide is very happy by that, so she says, let's do it. And then we're gonna have a
Not worried
conclusion
about
to
a
this
double
story.
cross at all. That's all you needed for Shuri to say is that
Yeah,
he just
that's
stepped
it.
down.
Yeah. No, he said he good. Oh really? Cool. Bet. All right, we're good now. I know 30 minutes ago I said that there was no way that I would work with T'Challa because he only works for himself. But now that you've assured me that he's not like that anymore, we're all good.
Let's look at this key characters. So, and I'm just thinking about this when I look at the last page, this what it says, what we got going on next, and everything like that. Key characters. Okay. So we have the Dora Milaje involved. We don't know any of them.
Fighting the Hatu Zeraze, which
We
is sacrilege.
we got to kill him, but where's Okoye at? Because that would be the person that could vouch for T'Challa. Where's Anika at? Like, where are the Doras that he has a long-standing relationship with? We don't. No character. I'm willing to bet you. Once John Ridley is gone, we probably not gonna see TOSIN anymore. If TOSIN don't go join the Young Avengers or something like that, we gonna lose TOSIN right there. TOSIN right there.
It's an unfortunate circumstance of how bad this book is because let me say this. If they get a writer worth his salt, right? If they get a mainstay name of somebody who we would like to see, Jeffrey Thorne, Al Ewing, Jonathan Hickman, they get one of those guys, then they're going to want to scrap everything that happened in this book because it was trash and it was inconsistent and it wasn't true to the character. The thing I can say, and I believe we brought this up before I read this synopsis for the next issue, get up out of here, is that in 2018, the T'Challa character made waves that a lot of people who would not have liked to have seen it make waves or never thought that it was going to make waves never predicted it to do. And the kind of example and representation that signaled to the youth was also very powerful. Similar to when Barack Obama became president. And we seen what type of reaction we got politically from Barack Obama being president for the last 8 years. I think what's happening to T'Challa in film and comic books, really all forms of media, is a likening to what we saw in reaction to a black man leading the country. A black man leading Hollywood, there's going to be a stiff reaction, and I think we're feeling it. So,
I'm
on
gonna
to
say
the
this
synopsis. Go ahead.
before you go there, Marcus. This to those that's rocking with us and everything like that, that's currently reading Black Panther. This ain't what it is. My suggestion would be to you go back and review the stories that came out. Go get the Reginald Hudlin stories. Go get the Christopher Priest story, the Ta-Nehisi Coates story. But go back and get the stories that came before that. If you love this character, you like this character, just like you love your favorite football team or your favorite rap song, and you know the lyrics backwards and forwards. Do the same thing for this character if you like this character like that. So nobody can just misinform you. That's all. That's all I got.
It's the conclusion of The Long Shadow. I hope it's the conclusion of the entire series. With the fate of Wakanda at stake, T'Challa and his ragtag group of allies must work together. A ragtag group of allies. This man is an Avenger. He's an Avenger, and he's the intergalactic. And his ragtag group of allies must work together to stop Akili. But with Akili in control of Wakanda and the resistance all motivated by their agendas, they may find themselves outmatched. And even if they win the fight, what is the price of victory in a nation so divided? Any other thoughts, Mr. Butler, besides don't go buy this trash anymore? Enough said. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, Give us some more suggestions. I think we're gonna pick up Blood Syndicate by Jeffrey Thorne. Still working on that, so stick with us. But give us some more suggestions, preferably with titles that are either centering some prominent Black writers or Black characters that we'd like to see. Bring it up to us. Drop it in the comments below. Let us know.